Hey, Ashley.
Hi, Dean. How are you?
Good, thank you. Okay, so Ashley, hypothetically, you just started a 1 year long fractional CMO engagement, and today's day one. All right. Um, Tell me who you are, and then tell me what a fractional CMO, is and does in that first 90 days of a 1 year engagement.
Sure. I'm Ashley Rodriguez. I am a fractional CMO for small brands. I began my marketing career after launching my first startup in 2012, and I'm also a veteran, which had a massive impact on the direction of my career. These days, I'm currently working with several diverse brands, so mostly focused in women's health, spiritual wellness, e commerce, and tech. Very, very diverse.
Mm,
As far as an initial engagement, this varies from CMO to CMO, but for my experiences, I really like to get in and analyze their internal marketing operations first. How is the foundation of their marketing? How do they prioritize their spending? Audits. So the first 60 to 90 days for myself is mostly focused on digging through their processes for marketing and auditing how the performance is across all channels.
okay. And Alex, hi.
Hi. So I'm Alex Ohlinger, and I'm a fractional CMO for Leadway. I started my career in entertainment marketing, working for World Wrestling Entertainment, and then moved on to Mattel, where I
Mhm.
had the chance to work on some well-known toy brands that you might know, like Disney Princess and Hot Wheels. And as a fractional CMO, I also work with very diverse industries. I think I counted up over 60 plus industries that I've worked in. And really, I find that they're always tackling the same challenge, bridging the gap between marketing and sales. So that's where my focus is. And as of the last several months, I'm now helping businesses focus their efforts on being more efficient with AI. So within the first 90 days,
Yeah. What
very
happened?
similar to, I guess, very similar to Ashley. I spend time collaborating with the CEO to get an overall business understanding, CEO and general leadership.
Hmm.
I identify their high level business goals and what they're trying to achieve with marketing. And I set up meetings with the team. If they have a marketing team, I meet with them. I also like to meet with customer facing people because I find that I get a lot of great ideas, low hanging fruit just from speaking with them directly. I'll do a resource evaluation, and then about day 60, I'll present a strategic plan back to the CEO and the senior leadership team. And then from there, we'll get some quick wins to get started, get metrics and KPIs in place, and then go from there.
All right. So let's like shift a little bit. I'm the CEO. Okay. I had to get permission, either or agreement. I had to get agreement from either myself when I had a meeting with myself, or with a board or investors or leadership team to put aside to allocate spend to bring in a fractional CMO for a year. Okay. How do I make sure for the 12 months that I've got someone like you? How do I make sure that I squeeze every last penny of value out of, like, what should I make sure I do, or what should I make sure I don't do to make things worse and to make things better?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's a great. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, that's a great question. So, um, I one of the things I would say is make sure that you provide even though they're a fractional entity, you want to make sure that you provide the CEO with the power to make decisions that drive the marketing strategy forward.
Right.
And make sure to socialize that with the company so that there's buy-in as well. As far as you want to make sure also that you have an agile mindset. So, a lot of times when I'm working with companies, they are very uncomfortable with change, but being flexible and being open to trying new things is really what's going to allow a company to get the most value out of having a fractional CMO. And really, again, just going back to collaboration, treating a fractional CMO as a full-time member of your team, including the fractional CMO and strategic initiatives and decision making. That is going to make all the difference, as well as weekly check-ins. No, just hiring this fractional CMO and kind of checking in months later. Having that really close relationship is going to be what allows you to get the most value.
All right. So, Ashley, let me invert that question a little bit. Okay. I'm still the CEO. You've worked with multiple companies and multiple clients as a fractional CMO at this point. How do companies typically squander the money that they put aside for that fractional CMO? What do they do that they really should not be doing? Or what should they be doing that they didn't do and they ended up wasting that money or some of that money?
Yeah, that's a huge one. So that's part of the auditing that I do when I come in, is to find out what they're currently spending on and if that's making sense for the overall direction or growth of the brand. I would say number one is typically they're paying for software or some kind of platforms or some, add-on somewhere that's just not really adding value to the team. It's not being used. And that could be a capacity issue where the team doesn't have time to get to it and actually utilize it the way that it should be, or it's completely forgotten about if there's a transition in marketing leadership. So I like to come in and find out what they're actually spending money on and how we can divert that to actually drive growth. So, maybe they put that money in an advertising team, or if they have an in-house advertising, they could always add more money to that. Or putting it up aside for marketing savings, because I do work with small brands. Having a nice cushion of marketing savings is really, really important for those brands.
Okay. All right, then. Ashley, let's shift again towards the marketing department. Okay, so let's say I'm still the same CEO, and one of the reasons I brought in a fractional chief marketing officer instead of hiring a middle manager or marketing director or something is that I want my marketing function, I want my marketing team or department to be quantifiably better at the end of the 12 months than it is on the first day that CMO shows up, right? Like, how does bringing in a fractional CMO improve or even just change a marketing group?
I can speak for myself and what I do as a CMO or fractional CMO. So a large part of what I spend my energy on is really streamlining or making their processes more efficient. So really focusing on the marketing operations, which can differ from other CMOs who are working with corporations. They have that more established. But for the brands that I work with, being able to give them guidelines for how to think about marketing strategy, what kind of data or KPIs should they be focusing on, especially with a small team. There typically is a capacity or a monetary limit, a financial limit. And so I come in and I get really, really creative with what we should be focusing on, how we can streamline their processes, and then teaching their team that, because ideally I would like to be able to move away from that contract after the 12-month period. And empower them to then take it on from that point.
Okay. And Alex, what about you? How do you think the marketing function, the marketing team is different or better at the end of 12 months once a CMO has been there for a while?
Yeah, so again, I can speak for myself, but budget optimization is a huge one for me. So really going into the business and making sure that they are spending their money on the right things. I find that 9 times out of 10, they typically aren't, or they're over allocated in areas like advertising and not taking advantage of opportunities like SEO.
Right.
Really fostering a cross-functional collaboration. I find also that a lot of times, again, my focus is connecting marketing with sales, and half the time, either the marketing team is almost like the kind of admin team to the sales team,
Yeah.
or they're not working together at all. They're completely siloed functions. And in this day and age, marketing and sales cannot be separate. They have to work together, especially because now marketing is responsible from a digital standpoint for about 4/5 of the buyer's journey. So if they're not talking to sales, that's a big issue. So I like to kind of bridge that gap and foster those cross-functional collaborations, and really help with prioritization and efficiency. So prioritization, again, making sure that the marketing team is focusing on the right tasks that are going to make the difference, especially that difference in terms of leveling up to the higher level marketing strategy and overall business goals. And then are they leveraging the latest technology for efficiency? So in this case, again, AI has been a really big focus as of late. because there's tons of tools that, while AI is not going to replace those marketing functions, they can certainly help and make things go faster and make them more efficient. So those are the things that I like to focus on.
Okay, so let's go like deeper into that group for a second. All right. Let's imagine that. Okay, imagine that your best friend says, "Hey, Alex, my daughter, son, just got out of college and just landed their first ever full-time job. They're the most junior person in a marketing group, and that marketing team, the company, just brought in a fractional CMO. Do you have any advice for my kid on sort of how to take advantage of that short 12-month window of having an actual CMO?" Because according to what
Yes.
they said, they've only ever had like management people, right? I mean, honestly, let's face it. You go into a small enough company, it's not unusual for someone to think, "Wait a minute, didn't we already have a head of marketing? It's the same person who's the head of sales, right? Or it's the CEO, right?" So they may have had management in marketing above them, but they've never had leadership, right? So like, what advice would you give that kid and say like, "Hey, like, you should think about it this way while you've got that person, in that domain."
Yeah, that's a great question. So fractional CMOs are definitely really experienced. So my advice to your kid or any junior level marketing person who is working with a fractional CMO is to get three key things out of them. So first, strategic exposure. So I think it's really important. Oftentimes junior level marketing people get lost in kind of the day-to-day nuanced tasks, and really I think you could use the fractional CMO to really get a better understanding of how those daily tasks align with the bigger picture and company strategy, so you can actually see how you're making an impact within the company. The second thing I would say is, getting a better understanding of metrics and KPIs. Again, this is something that's kind of not that top of mind with junior level marketers, but being able to learn which marketing metrics measure performance and which ones to focus on for what you're working on. And then the last thing is, utilize a fractional CMO to learn more about marketing trends and tools. You can gain a really good fractional CMO is on top of the latest marketing trends, the latest marketing tools and platforms, MarTech, and you could really gain insights to emerging trends. Again, going back to things like AI, different SaaS platforms, different ways to different tools, and you can learn how to apply them and make better campaigns.
And Ashley, what would you tell 22-year-old Ashley in that same situation? Junior marketer, CMO's just been brought in for a year.
Yeah, Alex did a really great job covering like more of the technical aspects of marketing and how to pull from a CMO or fractional CMO. So I think I'll go more philanthropic. For me, I would really recommend that they kind of get into the mind of that fractional CMO. What did their career journey look like? I noticed a lot of times once junior marketers kind of get a few years in, they become very discouraged because they've outgrown the position that they're in, but they don't really know where to go from there in their marketing career. And because marketing is so diverse, you can really make it what you want it to be. So I think it would be interesting for them to get an idea of what that fractional CMO's career journey looked like. And then maybe overall strategy. How do they identify areas of opportunity? A lot of that is going to be the data points that Alex mentioned, but also the process for identifying areas of opportunity. So going back to that internal marketing operations, because many brands that I work with, again, very small startups and small brands, they don't realize that there's an actual operations to the marketing. And so they're kind of haphazardly doing their marketing, what they call marketing strategy, without a real foundation in place. And so I think those two key components could really help make a junior marketer well-rounded, in addition to what Alex mentioned.
Okay. And then Ashley, I'm just going to be blunt about it's time to wrap up. So I want to ask, I was kind of blunt.
Sure.
Like, why do this job? Like, this is an enormously frustrating job a lot of the time. Let's face it.
Yeah, it can be
Why?
difficult. It can be difficult because there's a lot of education about what
Yeah.
marketing truly is. And to Alex's point, marketing and sales relationships are sometimes very complicated for no reason. It shouldn't be complicated. And they're very, very beneficial to one another. But I do this job because I love the ability to empower small brands and startups to structure their marketing and structure their business like the big brands. Although they're smaller and they work with smaller budgets, they can still get a lot of opportunity for growth and building a strong foundation if they just use these bigger brands as an example for building theirs. And what I notice is the small brands I work with, they typically start a company out of passion or skill set, and they really lack the business savvy foundations that are needed to build a thriving or scale a thriving business.
And Alex, how about you? Why do this job?
So a couple of, so number one, impact. So, I came from a very corporate background working for some big companies. It was a lot of times there's a lot of hierarchical, really difficult kind of red tape to even see like a small impact that you can make on the business. Working with SMBs, I can see impact almost immediately. So that, I mean, just being able to, bring value through marketing and what I do is just, it's really rewarding for me. The other piece that I think is valuable is as I enjoy the challenge of working with a variety of different businesses. I always look at marketing like a puzzle. The pieces are very similar, but in terms of how they fit together, it's always really different. So that challenge is very fun for me to solve, and it's what keeps me, I'd say, just keep going even when things get tough.
All right, no, that's a good answer, both of you. Okay, so it's time to wrap up. Alex, who should contact you, and how should they do it?
Sure. So, for me, a B2B company that isn't doing much marketing yet, or whose efforts aren't really moving the needle, but they know they need marketing to get to their next growth phase, those are the types of companies I love to work with. And you can either email me at alex@getleadway, GETLEADWAY.com, or you could visit my website at getleadway.com.
And Ashley, how about you? Who should contact you?
Sure.
How should they contact you?
Yes. So I primarily work with small startups, small brands that have
Mhm.
1 to 5 team members. Definitely brands who are looking for a little bit more guidance, get a stronger foundation in place because they're ready for a little bit of growth, kind of moving past the phase of the initial startup. But definitely teams that have the ability to execute the recommendations that I put in place. So I don't do the executions myself. I need a team to collaborate and work with. So small startups with a small team.
And how?
Oh, yes. At my website, if you go to ashley-speaks.com, I do a mixture of speaking engagements, workshops, and also I have some downloadables that can really help get things started if you're looking for more of a DIY budget-friendly option. And then when you're ready to work with me, you can contact me through the website.
That's cool. Yeah. All right. Both of you, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
And thanks for watching. This was episode 67, I think, 68. I don't know. We're getting up there. Thanks for watching, or this clip if you're watching.